I just discovered that an average terms and conditions document consists of over 1,000 words. And of course, an average person cannot read that. Like within 8 seconds, you are done scrolling through the whole terms and conditions and you've already clicked agree. Agree to terms and conditions, right? And just like that, you've already accepted um, you have legally accepted terms and conditions that you have never read. So today, let's talk about this document. Should we look more into terms and conditions? My name is Femias and I'm your host here at the Cyber Cafe. Here we speak about technology in the everyday language for the everyday man, breaking down concepts of cybersecurity and technology for them to become a bit more familiar. Today we would like to actually discuss about the T's and C's of applications and technology. This is something that application owners actually have to do, are required to do. And you are also required to agree to the terms and conditions. It's a legally binding transaction, if I may say. But what does it actually mean? I have ever had to write terms and conditions, and I should say that was really hard because as a product owner, previous in my one of my previous roles, I was a product manager. I I realized you have to actually understand the legal the legal standing of the application and the rights of the users, what they are required to have from you, and also what you are required to offer them in terms of their data collection, in terms of ads, in terms of protection, in terms of children who are accessing the app. Different things are in those terms and conditions, and you have a part to play in it. However, we rarely read them. So what can we do about that? So in real life or in practice, if you are to actually read all the terms and conditions of the applications you use over across the year, you would probably spend 250 hours of your life. There is a study that has actually done that. So this process is as if created to fail us. I am also saying, because I'm also an application user, it's created to be frictionless to make you fail to read them. Understanding all these things is impossible. Now, also please note that at the time you're downloading an application and signing up and creating an account, you really probably need this application. You need the service of this application. There is no time. You can't come back to it later and say, oh, I'll come back, read the terms and conditions, then agree, and then move forward. Rarely is that the case, but you can't move forward until you actually legally accept these terms and conditions. Now, all that banter aside, this is where application owners or application creators actually communicate to us everything. So if ever you find yourself in a situation where you are suing an application or your data has been compromised, that is the beginning point where they will actually show you this is where we communicated this is why this is happening like this, and they will be right. So in these terms and conditions, the application owners communicate things like what data are they collecting, how long will they keep it for, how will they use it, who will they share it with, what will happen to your photos, your messages, your posts and everything in there. So in many cases, they are also able to share with you if they are going to change these terms and conditions anytime without notifying you. They will actually clarify that they are free to change these terms and conditions as and when they feel like or when the need arises. And in many cases, they waive your right to sue the company. Yeah, it can be that deep, but we don't read them. Yeah, so you will find that some terms and conditions actually give the company certain rights that we don't know about. For example, Meta's terms and conditions allow them, Facebook Facebook's terms and conditions allow Meta to use our information like photos, our posts, and everything else across applications. And and that's why you find most of the things are synced easily. Yeah. I think Spotify as well was historically allowed to access your contacts and your photos, I guess. Some of these things are meant to help them reach other people. I remember there is a certain article I read about LinkedIn before, when it was just an address book. It was like when it started, it just allowed people to upload their contact list or their mail list, and somehow they found a way of pretending to suggest people to you. So you ended up thinking these people were already on the platform and you're the one missing out. Generally, it was a kind of thing, but it is all in the terms and conditions, if I should say. So permission can be granted the moment we agree. Yeah, and also, for example, many gaming apps, they have a clause in those terms and conditions that usually allow them to sell anonymized data to other people. And so many other applications are doing that now. So it's all in the fine print. Yeah. So it goes deeper, and I know it's a problematic situation. I also know that we cannot really read all these terms and conditions. So what can we do? So there is a website called Terms and Conditions Didn't Read, or you can find it TOS, like it's a capital T and small O with a capital S, Didn't Read. So it summarizes most of these terms and conditions, and it gives you things to focus on, and at least it will give you a little bit of a summary of the document. It will talk about the content sharing, the anonymized data, and what is important, what you're consenting to. So if you have a minute, you can just take that route, put the website or put the terms and conditions in that website, and it will summarize them for you, right? I think that's a good idea if you have a few minutes. Otherwise, you will just be consenting to things and later regretting that, oh my God, I didn't know that existed in the app. Yeah. So it will rate the site from A to E, and it will focus on, of course, consent and ability to cancel certain things. So generally, it will not still read for you every word, and it will not take away the fact that you want to know most of the things, but it's a step. And like I said, everything we talk about here at the Cyber Cafe is to try and equip ourselves with information that probably we wouldn't have given time to. So always ask yourself the biggest question, like, is it worth the service? Whatever the terms and conditions are they worth the service the application is offering, right? Because if you are getting something for free, you are probably the product. In most cases, we are the product. Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes, of course, the answer is yes, the product is probably worth the hassle, but it's good to make a conscious decision. I know in real life you wouldn't sign a contract without reading it, the fine print. So I think it's the same thing with digital life. It deserves the same amount of attention that we actually give everything else in our daily life. Yeah, so that's it for terms and conditions and how we come into play. What do you think about these documents? What do you think about what um, these big companies are doing, and um, how do you think we can change this? Have you had a chance to ever look at any terms and conditions? And what do you think about the fact that they're so long and ambiguous? Yeah, let's have that conversation in the comment section. And until next time, I'm your host, Femias. Bye.